Hey everybody, this is Raymond Camden here again to talk to you about working with Cursor and agentic development. Now, yesterday, and I will link to that post below if you didn't see it. Yesterday, I showed how to use Cursor to look at a new code base. And the idea was you've just started a new job and you have this giant code base that's been dropped in your lap and you're supposed to start working on it pretty soon. And there's no documentation. So in that video, I showed how I could use Cursor to just ask about the code base, to have it describe to me how it was built, what the technologies and frameworks and all that was built. And I actually turned that into a piece of documentation, a markdown file that we could store and commit and to help the future people who may be new to the code as well. Today, we're going to take it a little bit further and showcase a couple of features in Cursor that I think are really important. And the scenario today is, you've been at this new job for an hour and your boss is like, hey, you've had plenty enough time now to learn everything about the code base. And I actually want you to think about adding a new feature. And I am going to take that ask, take that request, and we're going to work with Cursor to create a plan to actually see how we build this and look at the plan and see if it makes sense to us. All right. So let's take a look at this. So I have my Cursor window open here. And by the way, it does have an embedded file viewer, a terminal and all that. I can open that up if I want. I'm actually running the site, which is a watch news aggregator site. And I have my little terminal there where I started that off. But what I want to do is think about the feature that my boss just asked about, and that is adding an RSS feed to the RSS aggregator. So I'm going to actually create a new agent. Now, yesterday in my demo, I just did a prompt like, hey, tell me about this site. Cursor actually allows you to directly kind of guide how you're working with it. And instead of just doing a plain prompt, I can actually specify, hey, I'm asking a question. And this is kind of nice where like I really don't want my AI agent to write any code. I'm being very clear that I'm just asking questions, don't actually do anything. So I'm going to start off by say, hey, my boss wants RSS. Do we have that already in the app? Because it's possible, right? So I'm going to ask this, and Cursor is going to look at the application. It already has a pretty good understanding of it, but it's going to kind of double check to make sure that this is not an existing thing. And you can see right away, there's RSS related code, but it may be for consuming. And there we go. Final answer, no, it does not have it. So now I actually want to use Cursor to plan it. And again, I don't want it writing any code. I just want to test. So I'm going to switch that mode from ask to plan and say, all right, I want to add an RSS feed. It should be the last 10 items added to the database. And I know a bit about RSS, so I know that there's a meta tag, a link tag, I think, that goes in the header that advertises. So I'll say, add that thing in the HTML header that advertises the feed. And I also want it to talk about adding something in the footer. So in the footer, I'll need a link to the RSS as well. So that is me describing the plan, and that's pretty short. Normally, I'd have a lot more detail, maybe a Jira ticket, for example, that has paragraphs about what needs to be done. In this case, it's just the RSS feed, but also it's going to need something in the HTML as well, two things. So let's actually kick this off and let it start working on the plan. And while it works, one of the things I'll say is that when it actually generates that plan, this is something that is editable. I can actually tweak something. So if Cursor comes back and says, I want to do X, Y, Z, I can say, you know what, we're not doing Z. Our plan is just going to be X and Y. Another thing that we may or may not see, if Cursor is unsure about what I said, and I gave it a pretty short prompt, but if it is unsure, it can actually ask me follow-up questions In this case, it had no follow-up questions, and we could actually look at this plan. And we could see, all right, so we're going to add the AstroJS RSS module. I didn't even know there was one. It's going to query feed items ordered by created at desk, limited to 10. So that makes sense. Map each row, generate feed metadata from site name and site description. It's going to add the proper link tag. If you remember, I was a little vague in it, but it knew what I meant. And then it's going to add a RSS feed to the link to the footer. And even better, I have a set of to-dos that will allow me to verify that, as this plan gets implemented, that's actually checking those things off. Now, not for today, but for tomorrow or for my next video, I'll actually show you what happens when you click build. But what's great is that at this point, I can stop. I could say, you know what? This is a great plan, but I wanted to talk about it. I want to share this plan with my coworker, get a second set of eyes on this. But I was able to allow Cursor to map everything out, to plan this for me, and do some of that heavy lifting for me. So once again, let me know if you have any questions about this. Tell me what you think. And like I said, I'm going to keep doing these videos so you can see continued usage of Cursor and really just how it's changing how I develop. Thank you.